Wow. If you could just be right here in this moment of now, right here, looking out this studio window at this gorgeous forest in South Charlotte, North Carolina. The sun is just waking up. I've always been amazed with the way that the rays of light hit the ground and it just illuminates the tall grass where you can see the deer. And the little child in me is going, man, I wish I could just see what else is in that tall grass. But then I begin to fear because I know I'm in snake country. I mean, you don't know where the copperhead is laying. You don't know if there's snapping turtles out there. Well, I do know that, but I have never been bitten yet. Yet, the key word, because if I go walking through tall grass and I interrupt this turtle, well, then I'm just asking for trouble. But from this place, this moment of now to see this, only to think that in 1997, it was once just a lawn. You know, you see that on the everyday streets. And one day, because I was being lazy, I said, I don't want to mow the lawn anymore. And I started doing some research about this one particular area of North Carolina. And I realized that before people arrived here to live in these homes, it was a forest. A nice thick forest with wild grapes and wild roses, and I can see the lake that they wrote about way back in the early part of the 1900s. And what they said is that people came here to play. They would escape their worlds far, far away. They would take dirt roads to get here to go play in the lake and to eat the wild grapes. And I said, I want that. I want that. And that's why we planted 1,700 trees. And yes, the beautiful lawn went away, but I replaced it with all of this, the nature, the owls. I hear that hawk every single morning. I see the deer, the snapping turtles. Hey, it's Arrow. This is The Daily Mess, a chronological walk through an everyday world. I am a daily writer. And you know what the funny thing is? I do invite you, maybe one day we'll get together and I'll take you back into my daily writing of 1997, where I put in the ground the very first seedlings. And you would see what the writer was dreaming while placing that seedling in the soil, what his long-term vision was, because he couldn't experience what we've got now if he wouldn't have had that particular thought. This is The Daily Mess, and it is a 60-degree morning this morning. Whoo! This is a chilly one, but it was our first walk this morning through the forest. An edge of fall has sprung itself into recognition. The goal or ambition is to slow down the pace, to not rush into every expectation, to take the time to identify what's in the flavor. I've always loved that about these professional chefs on television. They can break down the ingredients before it's fully digested. How many of us can do that with what we have in our everyday lives? An event unravels, and what was required from the elements in order for that moment to take shape. Learning about life, not just taking from it or expecting it to be a giver. Developing a relationship with the authentic story. My hands are currently covered in ink. I wish you could see it. The big deal on this is that my mind is saying, oh, you wrote this morning. You see, I don't use a typical pen. I use a nib, kind of like Shakespeare. I dip, I write. I dip, I write. If you don't like ink on your hands, I don't suggest that you try that. But man, the flow of those words, dip, then write. I do greet the trees every sunrise. The reason why is because if I didn't have paper from those trees, I would have nothing to write. What is happening on your personal journey that you're racing by and you're missing the purpose, the plan? Maybe that seed for somebody else to be inspired by. What's happening on your side of the speaker where you could say, wait, slow down the pace. What are the ingredients? Now I can savor. This is why this is happening. Yeah. Now I respect it. I'm Arrow, and that's The Daily Mess.